All right, great morning, everybody. Welcome to the very first um, episode of our digital growth series, right? And for with the Greater South Fulton Chamber, I am Kathy Booker, your interim president and CEO, brand new rather for as of January 1, 2026. So I am just excited about what we're doing and what we have going on here. Y'all see my assistant back here in the background, Miss Nikki. So she wanted to get. I said, "Girl, you need to be in on the action. You need to be here in the information to get this great information." So actually, we were going to kick this off last month, but you know what? We had to figure out a better way to get this done because Mike, I tell you what. I'm gonna let you do your own intro and everything because you can definitely tell us all the great things about you. I met Mike about I guess it's been at least 5 years. We didn't meet. He didn't know that he knew me. But I definitely knew him in in a different in a different world where we were at, but it was all about crypto. So y'all, I want to just tell you how I ran up on it real quick, and it's just a quick little story. I'm gonna just tell you guys the quick version. I literally said, God, where is the wealth transfer happening? I'm like, everybody keep talking about this wealth doggone transfer, and I've been hearing about it for years, and nobody had ever been able to tell us that they had experienced it, right? And so it was less than 24 hours when I ran across someone who was talking about crypto, and but no, it was first trading. And so, guys, I got introduced to the world of trading and then the world of crypto, and the rest is just history. And I've been telling friends and family who all would listen, but better yet, who all would even take a step further and check it out. Dr. Lisa, I'm sorry. I know you didn't want me to do this, but this lady is texting me. So from that point on, I just kind of hung out and met the fabulous Mike Sotero. So Mike, I'm gonna let you go ahead and give your intro so I can get myself together over here.
Amazing. You guys can hear me good, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, first off, good morning, everybody. And for those watching the replay, excited to be here. I'm going to share my screen and let's see if you guys should be able to. You guys can see the screen fine? Sweet. Awesome. Well, I'm not going to share too much about myself, but I've been in entrepreneurship since 2013. I'm 30 years old. I live in South Florida, where for some reason it's cold outside. So that's why I have a hoodie on right now. I don't know why it's cold. But in 2017, I saw some people on Facebook talking about the markets, talking about trading and crypto. And I got a mentor in 2017. And that's really the where it began. We've taught hundreds of thousands of people in 41 different countries. And just for today, and I appreciate the invitation so much to speak to some people that maybe have experience, maybe don't have experience, but I'll share two kind of perspectives. The first one is the difference of trading and investing, especially in crypto, because I don't know about you, but you say crypto to the wrong person and they think it's like a curse word, right? They think it's a really, really bad thing. I want to kind of change that perspective, hopefully, here today. And the number two is the future of money. Here's what's really funny, Kathy, is everybody on this call is already participating in crypto. They just don't know it yet. And I'm going to share with you why here today. And most importantly, why should you even listen? Well, this is usdebtclock.org. This is the US national debt. It's just only going to continue to go higher because every country, every bank is just printing money. Right now in the US, our money printer is on. So if something is on, a money printer's on, what does that do to the currency? It just devalues it. And you can see here, this is on the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, their website. This is the Consumer Price Index, essentially the purchasing power for the US dollar in the average city. Since the 1930s, there was a Great Depression at that time. There was war at that time. The dollar, the value of the dollar has just gone down. That's why we all wish we could have bought more houses, right, in the 70s or the 80s or even in 2020, because things have changed and it's only going to continue to drop. Now, what's funny is this is happening in Japan, it's happening in China, it's happening in Europe. We keep printing these currencies, and every 100 years, I did go to college. I won't say how long I was there for, but I loved history. And if you study history, there are what we call like world reserve currencies, right? Like the dollar is traded in all across the world. Well, the dollar's going digital. And you can see right here things like USDC. Think of it like a digital dollar. These are what we call stable coins. And before I talk about Bitcoin, I want you to think of just the money in your bank account as paper. It's numbers on a screen. If you wanted to take out the entire amount, let's say you wanted to go take out $10,000 from your bank today, right now, you're not really able to do it because they're going to say, we don't have the money. Why is that? Well, you can Google this if you're taking notes, write this down. The banks do what we call fractionalized reserves or fractionalized lending. You give them 1,000. They take the 1,000. They give 900 to Kathy. Kathy takes out a loan from the bank. That person gets 800 of that, then 700 of that. And it's just this cycle, which is not good. Well, with crypto, everything is transparent. So these digital dollars are redeemable for US dollars. For every digital, there has to be a physical one legally backed up. I'll give you this example. Mike, how can you use crypto in real life? My brother just got married on 3/16, 2 days ago on Monday. I was in Orlando visiting him. I purchased a cruise for him and his wife with USDC. Taking digital fairy tale money that people say, and I purchased a cruise. I've purchased flights with crypto and all these different things. So kind of want to start the call with that, just letting you know, like, this is happening, and I'll share why. Now, I don't know where you were 5 or 6 years ago, but in 2020, we were all probably in our house, right? We weren't traveling too much in the beginning of 2020, about 6 years ago this week. And at the time, Bitcoin had been established. If you don't know, Bitcoin's been around since 2009. It's not new, and it's not going anywhere. But 6 years ago this week, one Bitcoin was worth about $5,000. A lot of people called it expensive. A lot of people said it was going to zero because they didn't understand it. There's only 21 million Bitcoin. With gold, we can find more gold. With dollars, we can just print more dollars and devalue it. And then there's an entire other cryptos. I want you to think of Bitcoin like gold, Ethereum like oil. Okay, right now, gas prices are going up. Why? Because of oil and the situation happening all around the world, the geopolitical situation. Well, Ethereum 6 years ago, when we were telling people to buy it, was at $100. Today, it's at $2,300. Bitcoin that was at $5,000 is at $75,000 today. And the reason that it'll continue to go higher is because of this, is because of supply and demand, which we're all probably familiar with that term, but also there's a max supply. 21 million coins, and everybody's fighting for that. Banks, institutions, and I'll show you proof of that in just a moment. And every 4 years, okay, Bitcoin goes through a cycle. And if there's any questions on this, I'm going to open it up for some questions in just a moment. There's a cycle that takes place where there's basically less Bitcoin coming into supply. Super simple. If there's enough demand, price continues to go higher. Well, Mike, is there demand? Well, the state of Texas is buying Bitcoin for their state reserve. The state of Florida is buying Bitcoin for their state reserve. The country, okay, the US government has a digital asset crypto reserve with billions, hundreds of billions of dollars in it. Well, that might not be good enough for you. So let me explain it like this. Open up your credit card. Do you have a MasterCard? Do you have a Visa card? Probably, right? Some way, shape, or form. Well, MasterCard is all in on crypto. This was this past week, launching a crypto partner program. Visa, same thing. PayPal, same situation. Has anybody used PayPal before? I pay some of my people that I work with on PayPal. 70 different markets. You can send crypto, buy crypto. But this is where things changed about 2 years ago, and Kathy knows this. Companies that used to be very negative about crypto, companies like BlackRock and Grayscale and Fidelity, who, to be honest, in 2017, we didn't even think this was possible. And companies like BlackRock that have $14 trillion under management, they're the world's biggest company. They manage the most money in their portfolio. They are buying crypto. It's called IBIT. That is the ticker symbol. And when this share price goes up, you can see here there's $55 billion in it. They're essentially buying Bitcoin on the back end. Same thing for Fidelity. My dad is both of my parents, but my dad is a retired police officer, and he also teaches online at Grand Canyon University in Arizona. And in 2023, he got a call from his advisor, and they said, "We're going to do something with Bitcoin." I don't know how he found this out before the public, but we're going to do something with Bitcoin. Stay patient. And now, on Fidelity's website, you can convert your 401k, your Roth IRA, directly into crypto. My Roth IRA that I have goes into IBIT and goes into the S&P. That has crypto exposure. Okay, and Fidelity manages, I think, like $5 to $7 trillion. So hopefully by now you've kind of realized, like, this is happening. This is happening, and I like showing this chart, and then we can open this up for some questions and kind of freestyle. But it's a Bitcoin rainbow price chart that shows it's like an algorithmic forecast, essentially. And every time Bitcoin's in the blue or light colors, it's closer to the bottom before it goes higher. Now, I don't even want you to think about buying Bitcoin just to make money, but I want you to think of it like this. If today was Saturday and you had a family emergency with a friend, neighbor, cousin, and they're in, doesn't matter where, they're in Argentina, they're in Africa, they're in Europe, the banks are closed, right? And you needed to send them $10,000, $5,000, $2,000, life or death situation. And it was a Saturday afternoon. You couldn't do that through your financial institution. With crypto, they would have that money in seconds. And the world is starting to adopt it, but it's still so far away, which is a good sign for all of us. So look at the blue colors. 2016, Bitcoin's at hundreds of dollars, and then it gets into those brighter colors where it goes up to 20,000, comes back to about 3,000, 4,000, goes into the 60s. In 2022, crazy year as well, banks were failing. Why were banks failing? Why are they going to fail in the future? Not all of them, but majority will. Because they're lending money that's being lent out. What could go wrong, right? What could go wrong? Banks were failing. The world was really against crypto. Exchanges were falling apart. And anyways, Bitcoin went to 16,000. And then recently we saw Bitcoin go to about 120,000 last year, which was the all-time high. And now we're back in the blue, in the low 70s. And I always tell people this, and you can do it if you want. Just take a screenshot. I want your phone to kind of remind you where you were on March 18th at 11:22 a.m. next year. Because I want you to screenshot the prices. And I'm not even trying to be right. Maybe I'll be wrong. But so far, we've helped a lot of people be right about this. And there's a lot going on in crypto. There's a lot going on, and it's impossible to teach you this in 20 minutes. But I'd like to open up some questions, Kathy, if you want. And the last thing I'll say is 2 weeks ago, I spoke at a conference. It's 100% free. It's on my website, mikesotero.com/blueprint. It's 20 minutes. And I break down a lot of stuff going on in the world, why it matters. And you can go watch this completely for free. So, Kathy, would love to get into some questions if you have any, or anybody else.
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. Thank you. I mean, that's definitely a great start. I couldn't look. I couldn't have said it better. Right, but I've been under his tutelage for a while. I've been following Mike for ever since I met him, right? And so, and I said to him, I'm like, out of everybody that I actually mentored under and watched and listened, that I stay, he just stayed true, transparent to everything of my learning in this space. And so I'm like, it just made sense to invite him because I really wanted to share it with our community. And so Mike, the one thing I just wanted to say, then you guys can, ask any questions that you may have. Um what I'm realizing, the minute, like you said, the minute I say crypto, it's like everybody shut down. They
Yeah.
completely shut down. I mean, especially like where I am. And I'm like, okay, this is not the first time I've seen it. I mean, I'm talking about as recent as yesterday of asking them to join, to make sure that they be on this call, right? And I mean, it looks like they turned it, their brain just shut down. And so what I've asked the question, I didn't even ask a question about why did they look like that, but one lady was like, yeah, I got burned, I got scammed. Right. And so just talking about being scammed, by somebody in crypto. So now they have just like literally think crypto is a scam. So what do I
Yeah.
say? What would I say to somebody like that?
I mean, I love analogies, so you can go either way with it. But if somebody got scammed, I would say first off, that's unfortunate. But one bad experience doesn't dictate the entire space.
Mm-hmm.
You go on one bad date, do you stop looking for your wife or your husband? Right? It's
Right.
very similar. But I'll also say, well, how? What happened? Most likely, they bought a meme coin. They bought something that was overhyped. Right? They were lied to. They basically bought a security. Um, they probably gave somebody money to trade, the biggest red flag ever. And
Okay.
I'll share one last thing here that can really protect everybody is you want to make sure you never ever give people money. I mean, ever. I would just learn, right? I don't have a financial advisor. I learn, I manage my own money and I don't manage anybody's money. But with crypto, you want to get your money here. It's called a ledger. So you buy crypto on an exchange like Coinbase and then you send it here. But when people get burned, Kathy, it's usually lack of education. They were overpromised. They got really excited, and I would just let them know that it's that one situation doesn't dictate how everything else is operating.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So we want to open it up for questions, guys. Anybody? Don't be
Hey
shy.
Mike, this is Chris. Question for you. You mentioned kind of the banks failing. I've been in banking during the crisis of 2008, I believe, and had the big bailout plan, regulatory place, really saved the banks, right? Couldn't have the system failing. And this is something I just don't know from a, I guess, regulatory. Is there something that's in place to protect, or really, if that did happen, kind of in the crypto space? And I do understand. So my with 401k, my portfolio, they started incorporating crypto, right? So I'm like, oh, okay, this is and start seeing it going up here, a lot of positives. So just from a regulatory standpoint, do you see maybe the government kind of adopting some policies and procedures since it's being a part of the U.S. economy?
Yeah, it's a great question. So last year there was something that was signed into law called the Genius Act. So for every digital dollar, there now has to be a physical U.S. dollar in the U.S. Treasury to reserve as a backup. Now, also, crypto exchanges in the US, Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini, they're all public. Kraken's going public. They all have to show quarterly or monthly, it's called proof of reserves. So they have to basically show that they have, let's say, 100 Bitcoin. They have to show the reserves. And then what is about to get signed into law, could be any day now, it's called the market structure bill that will kind of protect banks. Like, how banks have FDIC insurance up to $250,000. We're going to have that in some way, shape, or form in crypto as well. The SEC, this is a great point, Chris. The SEC has a pro crypto commissioner, Paul Atkins. The CFTC just was appointed Mike Selig pro crypto. So these policies, they take time to like move into law with different administrations and stuff, but it's a very pro crypto environment right now for sure.
Awesome. Dr. Carmel? Some of our people fell off. They had some internet issues, but go ahead.
Yeah. Well, hi, Mike. I saw your 20-minute video online and I was just blown away. But thank you for being here. But the one thing that stuck out to me was when you was talking about the Roth IRA for us lay people, that have those things, and then some of us that may be afraid of crypto and converting different things like to IBIT, like you mentioned, and even S&P. Is that something that we would look at doing through like Fidelity or whoever we have our Roth IRA with? And also, like with transferring that stuff, some people like that I talk to, they're concerned about creating taxable events, with that. And so would they need to speak to the financial advisor as well with this Roth IRA, IBIT business as well?
Yeah, with taxes, I would definitely speak to an advisor. I don't like to do tax advice.
Right.
But yeah, with Roth IRA, I mean, like the simplicity of like you can put up to 7,000 a year. Personally, I just manage it myself,
Yeah.
so I just choose what I'm going to buy every week or every month. I just do it,
Mm-hmm.
and then see you in 20, 30 years. That's like a very safe approach, in my opinion. If you believe in crypto, that's an approach. You could also do 20% IBIT and 80% other stuff that your advisor suggests, but that's like a strategy, I would say. I would say the most important thing in like crypto is self custody. So like you buying Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Ripple, and you having custody of it. You don't have custody of your Bitcoin when it's sitting with IBIT. They do. So it's better. It's kind of good to have both for sure. But crypto was created for you to have sovereignty and for you to be able to move. If I have a brick of gold, I can't really go from country to country with this giant brick of gold. But with crypto, I can have like a ledger, little device, little USB, and I can move around, send money if I need to, and trade. So yeah, it just depends on your strategy. But I would suggest having both.
Perfect. Thank you.
Great question.
Awesome. So okay, we're at our mark, but I did want to just ask something real quick, Mike. You say that you actually, do your own buying and selling or whatever, or
Yeah.
choosing, and doing. So you do that through the company Fidelity, or you just do it through your some type of crypto platform? How do you do your own?
But yeah,
Um,
so traditional, I mean, like Roth IRA, I have Charles Schwab. So all of that stuff you're doing regulated completely. And then with crypto, you're buying it on Coinbase or Kraken, and then you're taking custody of it.
okay. And so yeah, and I know that that will help other people to understand, because I know this is a language that people are not used to, and so
For sure.
I already know, I see the level of I don't like to say negative things, you know what I'm saying? I think negative, but I just see the level of misunderstandings people
Yeah.
have, and just trying to get them to understand. I'm not going to, spend a whole lot of time on it, but I will, still do my best to get the word out there, because again, like you said, it is happening. It's not coming. It's happening. And I
Yeah.
just said, I just don't want them to just get knocked upside the head and knocked completely out when they realize that what we've been trying to tell them all these years, um, that they needed to check into research or get on board with, or at least, see if it's something that they can, get with. And then when they find out that everything is digital, pretty much. And I just don't know what else to say. That's okay.
Yeah.
I won't be able to say anything, right?
It's okay if not everybody understands. 12 turned into millions of people or billions of people, right? But not everybody still understands that mission. But that's okay. You're
Exactly.
you're doing your part, and that's what's it's amazing, and that's what we're trying to do. So thank you so much once again for the invitation.
Oh no, you're more than welcome. I appreciate you, Mike, for taking your time, and I definitely share how we can follow you again, Mike, real quick.
Just you can just go to my website or my Instagram. It's DeFi Mike Sotero, but this is an easy way right here. You can just go watch this, and then there's a survey under on the next page if you choose to want to work with me and all that stuff. But there, or my Instagram, just Mike Sotero, DeFi Mike Sotero.
Okay, awesome. All right, that is good, and that is it. So thank you all for taking time out today, Chris and Dr. Carmel and Ms. Nikki back here, and we appreciate you guys. And Mike, hopefully this will not be our last time coming together, okay? Because people need to hear about decentralized DeFi, Mike. Okay,
Yeah.
decentralized, all of that. Yeah. So anyway, guys, you have an amazing rest of your day, and Mike, we will talk to you soon.
All right, thanks.
Thanks.
All right.